Welcome back. I hope you had so much fun. I honestly, if you didn't walk away with that with a smile on your face, we didn't do it right, and I want you to do it over. I want you to call me, and I want you to walk you through that process again because it should have been enjoyable. It should have been exciting, and I want you to really be immersed into that. I want it to be an immersive experience. So we are back. We are back. We are back. And now that you have taken three of those activities and you have mind mapped three of those activities, you should have three weird opportunities or even three cool opportunities. But we're going to start to get a little bit more serious and transform those into alternative plans for 5-year life plans for you. So this is where we start to, sorry, this is where we start to become a little bit more adult and get serious. So in this section, we're going to create three alternate 5-year plans. And why do we choose three instead of one? We choose three because we don't want to get back into that mindset of there's one best way forward. There is not. We want to get into the mindset that we are capable of lots of thoughts, lots of ideas, and that in our life, we're going to have multiple careers and multiple opportunities. And so we want to allow ourselves to start thinking in that way, in an iterative way. And we don't want to get stuck. If we find that during the process of prototyping this idea and testing this idea, that it actually does not turn out to be what we thought it would be, we don't want to feel deflated and abandoning that idea and going with something else, or not have something else to go to if we have to abandon it, or even ways to adjust it. So this is all about being iterative. This is all about being able to rebound. That is the change management that I want you to get from this. So this is why I love this methodology or framework so much, is because it actually teaches us how to adapt and be embrace change, right? So this is the skill that you're going to need in all situations. If your job changes on you unexpectedly and it forces you to do something differently or even to lose your job, you are going to go from being shocked to accepting that a lot faster, having this framework in your arsenal, because you're going to be able to say, got it. This is not fun. This is not comfortable, but I also know that I can create an opportunity where there wasn't one, because I know that I have a 5-year plan and I know how to shift and adjust. Or I can pivot and go to another plan if this 5-year plan is no longer working for me. It's now been pulled out from under me. That is the whole point. It's to have these multiple plans, because we can't guess what's going to happen. Change is going to be unexpected. But if you have more than one plan, then you can always adjust. And you know what's coming. You've created an influencer list for it, and you can just kind of shift and adjust with that, right? All right, so let's get started. What does the 5-year plan look like? So let's start going through these slides. What you'll see in the first slide is an example of what a completed 5-year plan looks like. And you'll kind of notice that it's a lot of drawings and kind of scribbles, and you'll see that there's a dashboard component of it, an area for you to ask questions about what you think about this plan. But what's most important and what's noted about this is that there's a 5-year timeline chunk. And so you're going to have to, in order to create your 5-year plans, you're going to have to be ready to work through what you want to accomplish in those 5-year chunks. So in this section, let's get ready to do that. Let's start by having a look at what a blank plan would look like. But before we do that, let's talk about what those three plans should look like. Because I found that students get stuck on, I don't know what I want to do. Even though I've got those three ideas that I've mind mapped, I'm still not quite sure what I want to do. What do I do if I don't know? And the answer is, there's three alternatives that I want to throw at you. So the ideal plan is, what would I do if nothing changed? So let's say 2020 never happened, the pandemic never happened, and you were on a steady course of working in your job, working toward whatever goal it was that you wanted to accomplish in that job, and nothing happened. What would you do over the next 5 years? Let's write that out. What does that plan look like? Right? That's what I call the ideal plan. Then there's the option of the pivot plan. So, what I feel like most of us are in right now is a pivot place. Either we are not sure where our jobs are going to go because we are still in a place where the threat level for the pandemic is not quite low enough for us to go back into the workforce. And so, we're all trying to figure out what's going to be next. So, we're pivoting right now. And so, what we need to do is we need to have a plan for what if it went away? What if my job went away? What would I do? Let's create that plan. What does the next 5 years look like if my job went away? What does the pivot plan look like? I just want you to start generating thoughts, keeping in mind what you have mapped out in your mind map, right? Because if in your mind map you've identified that you want to be a um, a clown that basically cheers up kids, or you want to create a nonprofit that goes in and helps kids who are desperately ill, terminally ill. If you created that in your mind map, then that's your pivot plan. Write out a plan for that. Right? I'm just generating ideas for you just so that you can start to brainstorm for yourself. So I have an idea for brainstorming as well. But if this doesn't help you, I have another way of doing that. But not to divert off course, the third plan there is the off the wall plan, right? So this is the plan, is what will you do if money was an option and there was no judgment? And I say that because most of us get stuck on what would I do, because we start to rule out things because it doesn't generate the income that we think we're going to need, or it's a job that people will look at us and go, "You went to school for this, and this, and you're now going to do this." These are the jobs that you really are excited about. These are the jobs that generate so much excitement for you, but you allow judgment, you allow what others will think about it to stop you from taking that next step and exploring that. It doesn't mean that you take the job. It doesn't mean that you go with that plan. What it means is that you write that plan out, because as I mentioned before, there are going to be other considerations that you have to take as you're writing those plans out. So don't limit yourself in writing out the plans. There's two things that you have to do. One, go back to your mind map. Look at those activities that you really enjoy. Look at your good time journal and what you decided to use as your mind mapping activities. Then take these three things in consideration. Should I create a plan for the ideal? Should I create a pivot plan? Should I create an off the wall plan? You don't have to take these three paths, but these are just generating thought around what you could do. And if neither of those are still not sparking something for you to create a 5 year plan, this is when you start to assemble a team and you bring in people and you do what we call like a focus group. You bring in people who are important to you. You bring in people like mentors, family members, people who are important to you and that you value their opinions. And you start to share with them what you learned from your good time journal. And you share with them what your mind maps were. And you don't, I want to be careful here. You don't want to lead them in finding the answer. You want to allow them to come to and derive some answers for you. If we were doing this live and in person, I would have them actually create some options for you, because then it would take the responsibility off of you and you would actually see yourself. And sometimes when we see ourselves, we're able to accept those things. So, being more explicit, if I deep down want to be someone who goes in and cheers up kids as a clown, but I'm afraid to do that or even say that because one, it's going to take a big hit to my finances. And it's also something that people would judge me for because I've gone and gotten all of these advanced degrees and now I'm going to be a clown. And I can't take the judgment of that. Having a friend come to that realization as well because it's so clear based on what was in your mind mapping and in your journal. It becomes so evident. Having a friend say, hey, I think you would really enjoy being someone who cheers up children. Maybe we should think of a plan that, makes that a possibility for you. That then gives you the confidence because it then reiterates and confirms that that is an option that you should do. And then sometimes that allows us, it takes away that one, that fear of everyone judging it. This one person doesn't think it's a crazy idea. This one person thinks this is who has my best interest in mind, thinks it might be something that I should do. And now you have one supporter, at least one supporter. Okay. So, not to harp on that, I want to share that with you to help you start the process. But I don't want you to think that you're going to do this alone. Is a example of a plan that has not been completed, and I want to kind of show you what that looks like and help you think through what needs to go in the boxes. So the first section here where it says 0 through 5, you would write out what do you need to accomplish each year to make this plan a reality. Start to think of that, right? Be sure to include non-personal goals as well. I showed you a picture earlier. I did not zoom in, but I will, zoom in another picture. But what was included there are some of the non-personal goals. We are whole people. And as whole people, we have parts of us that impact us. Like if I'm only concerned with how much work I do and not concerned with how much fun I'm incorporating into my life, I'm not a balanced individual. And so if I'm not a balanced individual, at some point I'm going to burn out. And we don't get things done because we are putting way too much energy into something and not giving ourselves time to recharge. So make sure you include non-personal goals as well. If you want to take a trip to Hawaii, if you want to climb Mount Vesuvius, whatever that is, put those in there. Okay, let's take a closer look at the bottom half of this. So this is where you are going to put the alternative plan number because you're going to have 3 plans. So you make sure you figure out which one this is. And this dashboard is important because this dashboard is where you're going to take some time to figure out how you feel about this plan. Once you've completed what those activities look like for the next 5 years, and what it's going to require, how do you feel about resources? Do you feel like you're really going to be able to garner the resources to get this done? Yay or nay? From 0 to 100, how do you like this plan? Right? Do I really like this plan? Yes, no, I'm cold or hot. Where am I? What is my confidence level? Do I really feel like I can get this done? Do I have the skills that I need? Do I have the network? Do I think I can pull this off? Um, do I feel empty or full on that? And then coherence, you guys, coherence. This is taking us back to the beginning. How does this plan align to my worldview, my life view, my personality? How does this align to who I am and the what I feel like I want to solve, the challenges I want to solve? How coherent is it? Okay. And then, of course, on this right side, we have a title, which you should make this just a cute little title, and then questions to answer. This is where you have a few questions that you still don't know. Even though I've written as much as I know about this plan, there are things I still don't know. And you want to put those here. There's a lot more to talk about in this section. So let's dissect it a little further.